Welcome to Heal the World Show podcast, brought to you by the Healing Institute. The Healing Institute is an online worldwide hub of holistic practitioners, and we are making a difference on health and healing in the world. We really want to get to the root cause of what's going on with whatever your issue might be. And I've been using holistic ways of being well for over 30 years, and I know that it works. And so all of our holistic practitioners, when they meet with you, they get to what is really going on with you. We've had a medical model for the last 50 years that really isn't working anymore. And I believe it's because we only looked at symptoms. We didn't look at what was causing those symptoms. And so that's what the Healing Institute does. And the Healing Institute was created. I created this a couple of years ago. And mainly it was because we had had a tragedy in our family a few years ago, in that my mother had passed away at a very young age. She was only 61. And it was due to a complication with her kidneys because she had been on a medication for a very long time. It was very unfortunate. She died on December 15th. It was right before Christmas. And also, I was 5 months pregnant with my son. So I always say it's not only a tragedy that she passed away at such a young age, but also that my children didn't get to meet their grandmother, and I don't want that happening for other families. So I created the podcast a few years back. Actually, this episode is our 114th episode. So I've been doing that for 2.5 years. And I just love to invite people to come and talk about their experiences in health and wellness. And November, I always have a theme. So November is Navigating November. That's my theme for November. And the guests I have today is really going to be they're going to be they're the definition of navigating because of the story that they have to tell. So I am so very delighted to have Tippy and Ron Missick here on the podcast today. We're going to be talking about Ron's story about being a living kidney donor, which is kind of interesting now when I think about it, because that was the issue my mom had. So if she had had a donor to help with her kidneys, perhaps she would have been around a little bit longer. So Tippy and Ron, it was Ron's story, so we're going to start with that. But I love the fact that Tippy's here as well, because of course, when you are going through a process like this of donating one of your organs, you've got to have support, and need to have family support and community support. So welcome, both of you, Tippy and Ron. Wonderful to see you both today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good being here. Appreciate you.
So Ron, tell us a little bit about what led up to you making that decision, because it's a very, very powerful decision.
But yes, of course, it was quite unexpected. I hadn't planned on any such thing. And I was speaking with a friend of mine. His name is Alan. I called him to speak with him on a Saturday about a business proposition. And it turned out he had just gone through a really terrible week. His wife, Elena, whom I had known, but not really interacted with, was dealing with kidney disease. And like yourself, Camelia, my mom also died of renal failure because of the medication she had been on for many years. And this is the first time I'm sharing that aspect of it. But that must have been at the back of my mind when this all came about. So I spoke with Alan. He thought I was calling him to console him because I just found out that he was not going to be a match, a donor for his wife, Elena. And mind you, had been other people who stepped up for this. And because of health reasons or whatever, they were not a match. And so one devastating rejection after another. And she was feeling really, really bad. And so was he. So after I got off the phone call with him, I spoke with Tippy and I said, I'd like to see if I can donate for her. And but how do we do that? So
Yes, it's
Tippy
quite the
suggested,
journey.
yes,
Mhm.
Tippy suggested that I call our pastor, and I did so. He answered and then instructed me to the church online portal that had a posting for anyone in the
Oh
congregation
my
who
goodness.
wanted to, um,
Oh,
to donate through the Massachusetts Medical, what's a
Mass
Mass
General.
General Hospital.
that the
And
synchronicity of that, it's giving me truth bumps.
Oh,
yeah, and
totally.
so it was
Yeah.
I went there, found the link, put my name in, and time went by. I forgot that I had. And then one day I got a phone call seemingly out of the blue. And it takes you a while to kind of connect. Why are you calling me?
Right.
And then, yes, of course, I put my name in for it. And because it took so long, I thought maybe somebody else had stepped up
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
it was successful. Uh, but they called me and said, how do you know Elena? Well, I don't really know her that well, but I do know her husband. We have spent time together and forged a kind of a social church
Mhm.
friendship.
Mhm.
But I really never hung out with him other than at special events through a church.
Right.
And and so I didn't inform them as to what I was doing. I started the process, and I ran into a few hiccups along the way, Premier. So the instant you become a candidate for a kidney donation, for a live organ donation, you're assigned an advocate to look out for
Oh,
your best interest. Yeah, that's
okay.
part of the
That's good
process
to
as
know.
well.
Yeah.
So not only does the recipient have an advocate, so does the
The donor.
donor.
Oh,
And
what
so
a
now,
fantastic
yeah,
organization. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. Now that's at Mass General level to begin with.
Okay.
All right. So I thought that once I qualified, that my kidney would be donated directly to Elena because
Mhm.
I tested um, uh, uh, as a universal donor, and so is Elena. So we would match tissue wise.
Yes, right.
However, what as Tippy mentioned, there was an age difference,
Mm.
and so it was advised that she not accept my kidney. Not that there was anything wrong with it,
No,
but they wanted to give her a kidney of somebody close to
closer
her
to her
age. Now,
age.
so since I'm not donating directly to her, am I still willing to go through this process? And
Hmm.
the answer was yes. And so what ended up happening is I was able to donate uh, to to a person of whom I have no idea who that they are at this point, hoping to. And then they would that would put her to the top of the list, and
Yes.
therefore give her an opportunity to get a kidney within 6 months to a year. All right, so that's how it all was was supposed to happen. But here's how it really happened. Is the rest of the story, so to speak. Um, there are so many qualifications that you have to go through: psych evaluation, social, medical, familial, everything that has to be ticked off as to why are you doing this.
Right. Yeah.
So along the way, I started a process. So you have to be physically able to do certain things. So you are
Mhm.
put on a stress test, and then all the blood tests, and then the urine tests, and you name it, on and on. Well, it so happened that I tested positive for tuberculosis exposure.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And
and
you had no
so
idea that you'd have
it's
been
so
exposed.
so so what ended up happening is now I have to go through 6 months of antiviral medication, having my blood tested each and every month to see what that process
Mm.
is. And this was going to be done regardless as to whether I donate directly to Elena or
Or
anybody
someone else.
else.
Mhm.
I would have to go through that protocol. And so what they're looking at is because tuberculosis is such a slow growing organism,
Mm,
of mitigating that to going into somebody else. So you can knock
right,
it down 99 and 44 it's 100%, so to speak. It, it poses a small risk for the recipient.
right.
And but along the way there were a few more hiccups. I ended up having a head-on collision,
Oh my gosh.
automobile accident, and in January of this year,
Mhm.
and didn't want to alarm Elena. At this point, she's calling me champ because we were so close to the
Mhm.
process, and they had already found out that I was donating for her, um, but not to her.
But for
And
through
and
somebody to somebody else
exactly.
first.
And
Yeah.
so they wanted to know, are you still willing to do this?
Mhm.
And even if it's not coming direct, yes, I've made the commitment. So well, and I thought to myself, well, what if somebody else is closer to her match that steps up and
Mhm.
now she has two people who's
Yes.
donating for her. Would are you still willing to go through this process even though she's already has somebody else? And the answer was yes, because once we made the commitment, it was this is that important to be a
Yeah,
life changing situation for the recipient.
absolutely.
There's so many things that affects the body when the kidney is not able
Oh,
to
for
do its
sure.
job. And you well know because you have
Yeah.
your own
My own
familial
story
history.
about that.
Yeah. Uh, so
Well, and to speak to the resilience of you as well, of staying the course. So, I mean, obviously it was in your heart that you wanted to do this, even if you weren't able to directly donate to Elena.
yes, and so with that understanding and the just the weight of what can happen as a consequence of
Mhm.
this was beyond my understanding. But one thing I did know was I really wanted to do this to provide for a better quality of life for Elena and whoever
Mhm.
else would be in the process.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening is when you have a community behind you and family behind you to support you in this decision, because make no doubt about it, it is a larger decision, just a lot more than
Mhm.
yourself, because you have to,
Absolutely.
it's a matter of bringing
Yeah.
family into it. And so we were very much aware that I, a lot of things could go wrong along the way.
Mhm.
Whenever you
Mhm.
cut into the human body, a
Yeah.
lot of things can
And
happen.
I just want to mention then, Tippy, actually, your part in all of this was supporting Ron and supporting his decision. And how did that come about for you? Like, were you on board right from day one, or did you have to be talked into it? I think people might be interested to know, with spouses, how that works out.
Yes. So for me, Pamelia, I knew that Ron was working in a heart filled with the Lord and
Mhm.
with so much faith. And so I said, of course, I'll support you 100%. Who am I to say no to God? And reality is, it was both of our faith that brought us through this without much stress or
Mm.
anguish. It was actually a very peaceful and pleasant journey together. Even when he had his struggles, I found that, well, I'll give him an out and say, are you sure you still want to do this? But he never wavered. He
Mhm.
always kept his eyes on donating that kidney so Elena could have a kidney. And so it just made the journey so peaceful. It was beautiful.
Well, and it's a testimony to when you are doing something that you feel called to do, and you're doing it from your heart. You're doing it because you really believe in it, and not for any other reason.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So Yeah, that's beautiful. I just want to quickly say hello to Marie Piplovic. She's one of our holistic practitioners at the Healing Institute. She always pops in and supports us during the podcast. And she has a statement. She said, "Wow, that is such a message." So and a great share, she says. So thanks. Thanks, Marie. All right, I'll let you continue on then. Okay, so we've got these little glitches that are happening, like a car accident, for goodness sakes. Um, and so can you give me an idea and our audience an idea of the time frame from when you started? You said that your car accident was the beginning of this year, but you
Right.
had started a long lot sooner
Mhm.
than that, right?
Yes. So it was about this time in 2023
Mm,
that I became aware of Elena's plight and
mhm.
started the process. And of course, we finished the year when it started through 2024.
Yes,
Again,
because you had to go through all
all those
that
tasks.
testing because of the
Mhm.
tuberculosis scare.
You're right. So what ended up happening is now we're looking at um, just being in the whole process of not only um, being a match, but also being healthy enough
Hmm.
to donate and
Mhm.
recover from that.
Of course, yes.
So again, because you have an advocate, um, your advocate is there to protect you from yourself, even if you are not aware that you're putting yourself
That you
in
need
danger.
protecting.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And so and their voice is heard right up to the last point.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And here's the way the process truly works is that at any given time along the way, I could put my hands up and say, enough already. I've had it.
Ah, yeah.
This is way too arduous, way too difficult. But as Tippy mentioned, that was not a
Mhm.
calculus thought process for us. It was this is worth doing, and
Hmm.
so we're committed to getting it done.
Yeah.
And so when I had that head-on collision, I ended up with vestibular damage. In other words, my balance was all over the place. I lost my sense of
Mhm.
balance, which
Mm.
is humorous in a way because I also teach balance, strength, core strength, breathing, flexibility,
Wow.
and what have you, posture. And
So
so
you had
while
to
I
fall
caught
back on what you teach others to do.
exactly, so cognitively I know what to do, but making that new connection
Mhm.
with the
Hmm.
body to start afresh was a bit of a struggle. So better than 6 months, and there's still some after effects as a result of that crash. I've learned just how to circumnavigate the whole process because now the wiring in my brain is totally different than what it
Mhm.
was when I first
Right.
began.
Hmm.
So whenever we have a neurological damage, it's things stop working because the pathways are damaged, and
Right.
so the body has to have new connections
Exactly.
to
Hmm.
what's going on. So all my wiring is new.
You got
That's
new
it.
wiring. You got a new
New
man,
wiring.
Tippy.
And one less kidney.
Yeah, and one less kidney, as Timmy just said. Um, so the whole idea is so having to go through that whole process, and at
Mm-hmm.
this point, as I said, uh, Elaine is referring to me as her champ. I kind of bristle at that a little bit, only because I didn't want to not only let her down, but I felt that it was not earned at that point. And so
Well,
now
I
I
can
have
tell you're a very humble person.
Mhm.
well, thank you.
Very,
But
very.
I have no difficulty accepting the accolade now,
Now.
after the fact.
Yeah.
After the fact, I've taken much of my learning from my dad. He said, first of all, don't count your chickens before they hatch.
Hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
heard that one.
Yeah, and the other thing is you declare victory when victory is achieved.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And so it wasn't, we saw, we declared victory and went home. No,
No.
it was a whole process. But along the way, getting and being supported by the community, by our church family, when they
Mhm.
found out, okay, you know, this is good. We're praying for you. Uh, we're we're looking out for you, and that's huge. You need
Yes,
that
it's very
cultural. You
big.
need
Yeah,
you need that support, Amelia. Let it out.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And
it's
so once you went through you donated your kidney, you don't know who you donated it to. Maybe you'll find out someday.
hopefully.
And then how long was it before Elena got her kidney?
Wow. Okay, so
It's exciting.
now the doctor told me that performed the operation for myself that anywhere between 1 to 2 years.
Oh,
And I believe no, they said anywhere between 6 months to a year. All right. But essentially, I've heard different people say different things.
mhm. And
And
let's just remind everybody that this started back in 2024.
Three.
Or
Three.
23, you found out that she needed a kidney in 23. Now we're already into halfway through 2025. So how is her health? Is it deteriorating on a very rapidly or?
well, to answer that question, um, I donated on September 9th of this
Mhm.
year
Mhm.
and found out the next day that the recipient was doing well, according
Great.
to my
Wonderful.
doctor. And I was happy to hear that. Um, however, Elena her name was put to the top of the list.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
when she ended up getting sick and being admitted to the hospital because of kidney failure, there's
Yeah.
so many things that the
Mhm.
kidney regulates. If it's out of whack,
Yeah.
it can affect your health. So on she found out that very same day, 10 days later, that she was going to be receiving a kidney on the 23rd of
Oh,
October.
wow. That was fast.
Isn't that
Okay.
It
I,
amazing?
was,
I, I think the Heavenly Father had some fingers in the pie.
oh,
Amen.
It's coming to
without a
this.
shadow of a doubt. It was out of a shadow of a doubt. So now Elena is just one day, actually, yeah, 1 day and 1 month beyond her receiving a kidney. Her numbers that she shares with us are absolutely fantastic. Numbers that she had never had in her entire life because hers was a uh, congenital failure
Oh, it's
kidney
a birth
problem.
defect. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so um, we're there. But here's another twist.
Okay.
Uh, as Tippy mentioned, I had numerous occasions to put my hands up and say, enough already.
Mhm.
So the 6 months of antiviral
Yes.
medication, the accident, and then on a routine visit, there was a irregular heartbeat.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness. This is
Exactly.
before you had the operation. So
This is
this
Yeah.
is
before the
leading up to it.
operation. So
Oh my
now
goodness. Another
this
one.
this could also
Yeah.
Yes.
bring an end to the whole process.
Mhm.
So now I have to go through 2 weeks of wearing a Holter monitor to
Mhm.
determine whether or not my that was an anomaly or whether or not my heart rhythm has absolutely changed
Mhm.
for the worse. So it turned out that that was not the case,
Oh,
and
good.
that so
Breathing a
that
sigh of relief over here.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Excellent.
Even after the fact.
Yes.
So 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 then because now it's not a direct donation, I have to work now with the National Kidney Registry, the
Mm-hmm.
NKR, and so I have some more tests to do in order to get my kidney donated. And so I was contacted a patch I was sent a kit that actually no, it was. Let me back up and correct it. Uh, a phlebotomist was sent to take my blood samples for a match to whom my kidney would ultimately go to.
Okay.
Because remember, I was matching against Elena,
Right.
and
Right.
now
And now you're
now that I'm
national. Now it's
exactly so
national
now so it
bank.
has to go out. So the phlebotomist had a life family emergency, so they couldn't show. I waited and waited and waited and found out after the fact we can't, they're not going to come. So another appointment was set up
Oh,
for this phlebotomist to come out, and something else happened. So that's two times this is not going anywhere fast. And then the last time I said, well, is it possible? Is there a place here in Massachusetts? That's where I am right now, residing, that I may go to have this done? Well, there's no place close to you. The closest place is about time-wise travel is about an hour away. And
that's not that far.
well, when you're going through Boston
Boston.
traffic, it's
Oh,
far.
pardon me. Yes. Okay. Gotcha.
So while the distance, the time factor is not that much, the mode of travel could be.
Yes.
And,
I
and
understand.
so yeah, so I was sent this kit. I put the placed the kit to at the front door so that I would remember to take it out, take it with me on my way out because I didn't want to put it in the car ahead of time. And it just so happened that I ended up using my wife's car and going out through the back door, so as
Uh-oh.
opposed to the front door, and left the kit at home. So I'm halfway to my destination, and I realized, oh my goodness, I don't have the kit. Now I have to turn around. I'm calling Tippy, frantically calling Tippy, and everything is going to voicemail. And I I'm thinking, okay, I can meet her. She can meet me halfway, and that'll save me
Mhm.
some time going on the turnaround to go to this place to have my blood drawn to see what was going on. Well, her phone's not working. It's working, but it's not ringing. Okay? So I burst through the front door, and there she is sitting nice and comfortable, surprised to see me. And I forgot the kit. Why aren't you answering your phone? Well, the phone wasn't working as it ought to have been. We so since got it taken care of, but that was a bit stressful. So now I'm back on the road heading south to what was it?
Braintree.
Braintree, which is south of Boston.
Mm.
I'm heading on my in my area from 495 to 93, going south to into I have to pass through Boston. And
Rhode Island.
exactly, it's very
Oh my
close to
gosh.
Rhode Island. So I'm in traffic, and I get to an HOV lane, and you know how you're supposed to have at least two
Two people.
individuals.
Yes.
It's just me, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm making a calculation. If I'm stopped, I've got a valid
I've
excuse.
got a medical kit here
I
that
got a
will
medical kit. I can
give me a
always wave
pass,
and say,
hopefully.
"See, I'm on my way to do this." It happened that never was the case. So I was able to bypass a lot of that traffic that was showing me that I was I was just showing me that I had to be there.
Right.
So what ended up happening was I get there, I ran upstairs, I get the blood test done, and I thought this appointment was so tight that they were packed with people. I got in there and I was the only person there.
Oh my
And it was
goodness.
like, there was somewhat of a disconnect as to just what the urgency of it was, but the person was there and was aware that I would be on my way, a bit late, but on my way. So turned out it happened that I only was about 10 to 15 minutes off the original mark,
Wow.
which was
That's
notable.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
From all the
So
turnaround and reset. Yeah.
yes,
And
indeed. So
traffic.
I've got a new appreciation for people that I see in the HOV lane when there's only one person in there. You can never can tell if maybe there may be an emergency going on.
Absolutely.
So a little more grace. That's
Yeah.
self-talk.
That's absolutely, yes. Well, Marie has another wonderful comment. She said, "Your commitment is such a blessing," and it so is for making that kind of a commitment and all the hurdles, one for a better word, that showed up and you didn't waver at all. This was still, you were still going down that straight path.
Yes, and again, the reason being is that life life comes at us in ways that we don't know. How we respond to that is about who we are. And I had numerous occasions to list it as too, this is too frustrating, taking too much of my time. It's going to, you name it. We can always come up with an excuse that we can sell ourselves on.
Yeah. Marie's got
But
a great question here. What would you say to someone who resists accepting support or asking for support?
well, first of all, we are designed to be together and to help one another. As a matter of fact, it's a command. If you are in the Christian faith, it's a command that you help one another. And unfortunately, we see too much of our social aspect kicking in, which says, I don't have to give you a hand up because that's a hand out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? Everybody needs a hand up at one point in time.
Yes.
And the majority of people, I will say 99 and 44, it's 100% of the people would prefer a hand up as opposed to a hand out. And we so focus on the one person or the couple people or the minimal few that are constantly looking for a hand out. Now, guess what? That stretches across the social economic strata. You have businesses that are always looking for a hand out as well. But getting back to this, once you make a commitment to do something that you've been commanded to do, there's no turning back. There's no wavering. You have to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, your story of resilience and unwavering and commitment, Ron, is just absolutely touches my heart completely. The fact that you have Tippy, who's an amazing person to help you
That she
support
is.
you, and also your community, your church community. It just really is a heartwarming story about how you were able to, although you weren't able to help your friend's wife directly, as it turned out, but indirectly you helped. Now you helped her as well as another person who actually got your kidney. So thank you so much for telling us the story, and explaining how this all works, because as I had mentioned before we started recording, I had never heard of that type of donation. I'd only ever heard of you donating directly from you to another person. So knowing that that is available now, and obviously nationally throughout the United States, I'm not sure if we have something like that here in Canada, but I'm going to look into it and find out. But that's just, I mean, that kind of network that's established in order for someone, the person that got your kidney could have been in California, and you're in Massachusetts, that is unbelievable. And such a support for people who are in need of a donation of an organ. Yeah, so thank you both for being so willing to come on our podcast today. We have a vision of a community of holistic wellness and holistic practitioners. And we are an international wellness community. We are global. We are doing projects all over the world. And right now we have practitioners in 3 different countries. which we're very, very delighted. We're growing. Our motto is service with love. And we have a big ask. So those of you who are watching the podcast or listening to the podcast, please let your friends, your family, your community know about the Healing Institute and about the fact that we do have these amazing holistic practitioners who are available to help you with your health and your healing. So thank you again, Tippy and Ron. It was delightful to have you today. And I'm going to just stop the recording.